Three, two, one.
It's 5 o'clock.
Blog Talk Radio.
You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
Are you ready for this? Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's Wednesday, March 23rd, 2016, and welcome to the BCS Experience. History, arts, culture, and politics in review and discussion. I'm Byron C. Saunders, your host with the most. The BCS Experience takes a look at our rich history, African American history. We're going to share with you some known and unknown historical facts and information from the past and connect the dots on how they have impacted on our present day events and how they will definitely shape our future as African Americans in this country and around the world. The BCS Experience, history, arts, culture, politics, in review and discussion. This is Internet Radio and will be aired live every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. from the studios of the Iron Metropolis Images on the GoPro Radio Network. You see, I'm really excited about this opportunity to talk to you all across the country and around the globe. I want you to tune in every week on your computer or your phone, and I want you to become a loyal listener, and I personally invite you to lend your voices to this radio talk show to express your opinions on my weekly topics. This is social network radio at its finest. Now, here's the number for you to call in to be a part of tonight's discussion. Call 347-884-9839. Once again, that number to call, 347-884-9839. This week's topic. Okay, it's still Women's History Month, and the BCS Experience continues to honor extraordinary women who have made and continue to make amazing contributions on our journey to freedom and to freedom land. All right, my show is the new Underground Railroad Express. I'm making stops into your neighborhood, all aboard to freedom and to freedom land. But before we get started, as we celebrate Women's History Month, my sisters, I want you to take a look at this very short video clip because I want to know what has happened to my sisters. Roll that tape. All right, as they're queuing it up, he'll let me know when we're ready. But the process of understanding, and really as we celebrate our heroes and especially our sheroes during the rest of Women's History Month, it's understanding because back in the day, strong African American women came up out of the ashes of slavery. Every year, every day, from Sojourner Truth to Harriet Tubman, all the way up to Michelle Obama. But along the way, we have lost some of our verve. We have lost some of the respect that you have for each other and for us as a village and a community. And this particular video expresses that. It gives you a chance to take a look and see what has happened to you. Why have you gone from those of Rosa Parks, Coretta Scott King, Fannie Lou Hamer, to where today, you've seen the videos, You've seen how your skirts are hiked up to the back of your butt. I mean, come on, ladies. What happened to the respect that you have for yourself, and respect that you have for the men, the respect that you need from your children? We need to get back to that. So I hope we can pull that up, because it's real short, but it asks a very poignant question. What happened? Are we ready to roll that, Mel? Not okay. All right. Well, as we hey, listen. He's going to let me know when we're ready for that. But I want to hear from you. Let's connect some more dots and make sense out of it all. Call me, 347-884-9839. In fact, tonight I have as my very special guest that's joining us in the studio, none other than you, my listening audience, with another opportunity to appreciate our rich cultural history and really learn how it has impacted on our lives today. And so as he's pulling that up, I do have history. We can go right into it because I've got history of special women. Check this one out. The date. It's a Monday. It's March the 16th, and the year is 1846. Well, you see, Rebecca J. Cole was born on this date in 1846. She was one of the first black women physicians in America and was the first black woman to graduate from the Women's Medical College in Pennsylvania. She was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and received her secondary education from the Institute for Colored Youth, which is now Cheney University, graduating in 1863. Now, Rebecca Cole received her medical degree from Women's Medical College, now part of Allegheny University of the Health Sciences, in 1867. The Allegheny University of the Health Sciences no longer exists, but its parent organization, the school, is administered by Drexel University. And from 1872 to 1881, women physicians appointed Cole as a resident physician at the New York Infirmary for Women and the Children, a hospital owned and operated. Well, we're going to take a little break here, go to a commercial, and when we come back, I'll give you the rest of the story on Rebecca J. Cole. Got it. That's fine. Just let me know. Okay.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you a great opportunity. If you have an event, product, service, talent, or something important to say, now is your chance. You can have your very own radio show. Whether you're just starting out or a veteran looking for a professional platform to enhance your presentation and following, the GoPro Radio Network is the premier place to cultivate and share new and exciting content. We can help you grow your audience and keep it growing long after your first broadcast. Now you have a voice. Call 212-696-8562 or visit www.goproradio.com and you'll be amazed at how easy and affordable it is to have your very own professional radio show on the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
We are an amazing people, rooted in Africa, the cradle of human civilization, descendant of the awesome men and women who made a way out of no way. People steeped in the values of truth, justice, respect, harmony, balance, reciprocity, and order. But 400 years of enslavement, Jim Crow, and racism, fueled by the lie of black inferiority, have taken their toll. The result? Too much pain, too much hurt, too much loss. We owe our ancestors, ourselves, and our children so much more than this. Join the movement for emotional emancipation, healing, and wellness for Black people. Go to communityhealingnet.org and take the pledge to defy the lie and embrace the truth. That's communityhealingnet.org. Our children and our ancestors are waiting.
You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
Already.
you
We're
ready
back.
for this?
I am so ready for this. We're on the BCS Experience right here on the GoPro Radio Network. Well, after a brief pause and interlude, right back to where we left off. We were talking about Rebecca J. Cole. Now, Dr. Cole worked with Dr. Elizabeth Blackwell, the first white American woman physician to receive a medical degree. Blackwell assigned Cole to the post of sanitary visitor, a position in which a traveling physician would visit families in their homes in slum neighborhoods and instruct them in family hygiene, parental, and infant care. Now, Dr. Cole practiced medicine in Columbia, South Carolina, Philadelphia section of the city. In 1873, with assistance from fellow woman physician Charlotte Abbey, Dr. Rebecca Cole started a women's directory center to provide medical and legal services to destitute women and children in Philadelphia. Dr. Rebecca Cole practiced medicine for 50 years. Dr. Rebecca Cole died on August 14th, 1922. Wow, what an amazing story. That's why we're celebrating Women's History Month, the sheroes who really paved the path, so that we can go back and take a look at that very important video of what has happened to our sisters. Roll that tape, Mel, so we can take a look at that.
It is rumored that we were soft. Had cumulus cloudy laps a man could lay his troubles upon, honey-dipped tongues that spoke sweetness in the mornings, embraces that chased the devil away, we were soft. Rumor has it that we could tame the beast in a man with a whisper, grew and glued our families together. We were angels that walked on land, a silent strength. We uplifted each other. We were soft. I don't know exactly what happened. We are hard now, rigid, bruised, and broken. We've lost our magic. Now we curse the morning. Where is our elegance and mystery, our dignity and grace? For our daughter's sake, we were soft, weren't we?
Wow, that's some heavy statement there. And that's why we really have to get reconnected with our village. Respect for each other. Respect for the men, respect for the women, respect for our children. And it's got to come back to that. Otherwise, we're destined to be doomed. That's what's falling apart in our community right now. So my sisters, gain back that which made you the queen. So we're going to continue with our sheroes. And as you see, you will hear some women tonight, extraordinary stories. All right, the date. It's March the 18th. The years, it's a Thursday, and the year is 1847. So you see, the birth of Susan McKinney Stewart in 1847 is celebrated on this date. A physician. She was one of the first black women to earn a medical degree and the first in New York State. See, two women already who you did not know who were first to become medical doctors in this country. African-American women, born Susan Maria Smith in Brooklyn. She trained and performed as an organist. As a child, her early training qualified her for teaching positions, and she taught school in Washington, D.C. and New York City, using the proceeds of her New York teaching to pay tuition for medical school. McKinney Stewart began medical study at the New York Medical College for Women in 1867. She specialized in homeopathic medicine, and after 3 years graduated as class valedictorian. After receiving her degree, she achieved wealth and a local reputation as a successful Brooklyn physician and with an interracial clientele. McKinney Stewart excelled especially in pediatric care and the treatment of childhood diseases. Outside her medical practice, she agitated for social reform, advocating female suffrage and temperance. And until the early 1890s, she remained the organist for the African American Episcopal Church, AME Church, where she regularly worshiped. Both of McKinney Stewart's husbands were ministers. Now, she was married to South Carolina minister William G. McKinney in 1871 until his death in 1894. In 1896, McKinney Stewart married U.S. Army chaplain Theophilus Gould Stewart. She moved with him to an Army bases in Montana, Nebraska, and Texas. And by 1906, husband and wife had both found positions at the AME's Wilberforce University in Ohio, and McKinney Stewart as college physician. In 1911, McKinney Stewart joined luminaries including W.E.B. Du Bois at the Universal Race Congress in London, where she delivered a paper on colored American women. She died in 1918 at Wilberforce University. She is buried in Greenwood Cemetery, Brooklyn, New York, and her grave is not far from the grave of composer James Weldon Johnson. Wow, what an amazing story of a woman who's led the path, opened the doors for many to become doctors and nurses in a very profound profession of healing and caring for people. All right, I want to hear from you. Let's connect some more dots and make sense out of it all. Let's talk. Call me at 347-884-9839. I want to know if you know these women. Have you heard of them before? And if you're not, let's talk about some of the history that you are hearing today. All right, we're going to keep right on moving along. The next one, it's a Wednesday. It's March the 16th, 1853. You see, on this date, we recall the birth of Lucy Parsons in 1853. Now, she was a black socialist and an anarchist whose work made her a prominent figure in American politics. Accounts differ as to Parsons' birthplace, but some historians have said she was born a slave in Texas. Certainly, her marriage to Albert Parsons, a former Confederate soldier turned radical Republican, was viewed as controversial. Shortly after their 1871 marriage, they left Waco, Texas for Chicago, then a center of labor unrest and radical political movements. Well, after Albert was blacklisted from the printing trade, Lucy supported the family as a dressmaker. Around 1879, Lucy Parsons began writing her journals, such as The Socialist and Scribner's Magazine. And in 1884, Parsons published her famous article, To Tramps, the Unemployed, the Disinherited, and Miserable, in the socialist journal, The Alarm. Now, she led demonstrations of the unemployed, sometimes with her two children, Lulu and Alfred, in tow. Some critics have accused Parsons of subordinating issues of race to those of class, pointing to her article, The Negro, Let Him Leave Politics to the Politicians and Prayers to the Preacher, published in 1886. Well, in response to the lynching of blacks in Carrollton, Mississippi, she published that at that point. And Parsons' commitment to class struggle brought her to the front lines of the 1886 movement for the 8-hour workday. Wow. You wondered where that started? Lucy Parsons. Shortly after a general strike began in Chicago, her husband, Albert, was arrested during a demonstration in Haymarket Square. After the execution of her husband, Parsons traveled widely, speaking on anarchism and the Haymarket incident. In 1914, she commanded headlines in the mainstream press by leading 2 mass hunger demonstrations of homeless and unemployed people in San Francisco and Chicago. Parsons, by then in her 60s, was arrested for her role. At the age of 86, she joined the Communist Party. Following her death in a fire in Chicago, police seized Parsons' books and personal papers, leaving few permanent records of her life and writings. Sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? Talk about a revolutionary person, a woman who stirred it up. Compassion for her people, passion for freedom. Lucy Parsons. I bet you didn't know this story. There are some high schools that actually have her name attached to it. But the 8-hour workday, and you didn't know where that came from, I bet. But Lucy Parsons was partially responsible for helping to spearhead the 8-hour day. Oh my goodness. All right, I want to hear from you. Come on, connect some more dots with me. Make some sense out of it all. You want to talk to me? You can do that. Call me at 347-884-9839. We're going to take a little break here, a little commercial break. And when we get back, I promise you, I've got even more amazing stories of our sheroes leading the path during Women's History Month. Be right back after these very important words.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on.
You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
What if you can have an entire team of skilled professionals to help your business grow? Admin, accounts, marketing, and more, but only pay for the exact amount of support you need at virtually the same cost you'd pay for one full-time employee. With Virtual Professions, you can. One contact, one number gets you a team of virtual professionals for exactly what your business needs. It's 1-888-315-VPRO. That's 1-888-315-8776. Or online at www.virtualprofessions.net. Virtual Professions Incorporated, because you mean business.
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready for this. Are you ready for this? Okay, we're back. We're back. Now, this is my favorite part of the show, at least one of them. This is a chance where I get an opportunity to express to you how we keep GoPro Radio going. This is the part where you become an opportunity to make history with us by being a full supporter of the network and of my show. You know, I'm celebrating my 5th anniversary, and the way you can be a supporter of listener-sponsored radio is very easy. Go to goproradio.com. Now, when you get to our homepage, I want you to click on that space that says Make a Donation. Well, here's your chance to show us some love so that I can continue to give you the history, and our trip to freedom and on the Underground Railroad Express. Click on the Make a Donation, and since it's my 5th anniversary, let's start off with a $5 donation. That'll help keep me on the air and help with the improvements that we make every week on the fastest growing network in the galaxy, GoPro Radio. All right, make a $5 pledge. If you go to $15, guess what? We have premiums, and I can give you this amazing book, Ministry Begins After the Fall, Introducing Midas and Knowledge, written by our very own Reverend Dr. D.L.C. Boyce. For your $15 donation, you get an autographed copy of her book. Every month, at the end of the month, my last Wednesday of the month, I feature Reverend Dr. D.L.C. Boyce on Let's Talk You. So, get your copy. Make that $15 pledge. And if you make a pledge above that at $100, boy, do we have a powerful, powerful documentary for you. Disappearing Voices, The Decline of Black Radio, by our producer, Tylon Eusebius Washington. And in addition to you get this, as well as this amazing t-shirt and your very personal copy to add to your library. We want to know what happened to Black radio. Why are we losing stations? Well, GoPro Radio is staying strong because of our listener-sponsored audience. That's you. So thank you for making that donation. Thank you for keeping me on the air, because the BCS Experience on GoPro Radio is the #1 show on the network. All right, we're back. And I've got more history for you. Check this out, the date. It's a Friday. It's March the 19th. The year is 1897. You see, this date marks the birthday of Moms Mabley, born in 1897. Now, she was an African-American vaudeville performer and comedian, the first black woman to establish herself as a single act in a stand-up comedy in America. Jackie Moms Mabley was from Brevard, North Carolina. She rose to national recognition as a stand-up comedian in the early 1960s, a pioneer of social satire. She was strongly influenced such contemporary black comedians as Richard Pryor and even Whoopi Goldberg. Mabley was also known for her compassion and kindness, and these qualities earned her the endearing subsequent Moms. Born Loretta Mary Aiken, Mabley grew up in a large family in the South. Her father ran several businesses while her mother presided over a large household that included boarders. When Loretta was 11, her father died when his fire truck overturned and exploded. Encouraged by her grandmother to make a life for herself, she departed for Cleveland, Ohio. After singing and dancing in local shows, she began performing throughout the country. Traveling the vaudeville circuit, she experienced overt racism and demeaning working conditions, and deflected her pain through satirical wit that drew heavily from black folk traditions. Mabley's career took off when, in 1921, the husband-wife vaudeville team, Butterbeans and Susie, invited her to perform with them in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. In her comedy routines, Mabley adopted a stage persona based loosely on her own grandmother, but with a distinctly cantankerous and sassy edge. She was known for her folksy humor and ribald jokes, and affectionately referred to her audience as her children. On stage, Mabley became famous for her gaudy house dresses, floppy hats, and oversized clodhoppers. Well, during the 1960s, she recorded more than 20 albums of her comedy routines and appeared on television shows hosted by Harry Belafonte, Mike Douglas, Merv Griffin, and Bill Cosby. A year after starring in her feature film Amazing Grace, which was 1974, Mabley died of natural causes at the age of 78. And so, we have something extra special in the BCS Experience tonight. I want you to really get a sense and a chance to hear and see Moms Mabley in her finest. Roll that tape. It's Hide the Whiskey.
You know, it's nice to have nice neighbors. Nice to steal if they're your friend. Cause honey, a friend in need is a friend indeed. All through thick and thin. Now they'll give you the shirt right off their back and feed you every time. But there's one accommodation at which they draw the line. Now if you knock on your neighbor's door and listen right away, I bet my bottom dollar you gonna hear that neighbor say, hide the whiskey. Hide the whiskey. Oh, honey, if I've told you once, I've told you 3 or 4. Now, if you want us to drink again, don't you let them people in. First, hide your whiskey. Hide that whiskey before you open that door. Now, the missionary members of the Ladies Auxiliary were having their weekly repast, and baby, they wasn't drinking no tea. When the members went up by the window shouted, oh my dear, I see the preacher coming, and I know he's coming right here. Hurry up, hide the whiskey. Hide the whiskey. You know he drank us up once before. Now to save his soul from sin, and to save us all a sip of that gin, hide the whiskey. Hurry up, hide the whiskey before you open that door.
Shall we put it in the book?
That's the first place he looked.
Shall we put it behind the door?
No, he found it there before.
Put it here, put it there.
Oh man, put it anywhere, but hide the whiskey. Go ahead, hide the whiskey before you open that door. Oh, hello, Rev. Would you like to have a Pepsi Cola?
Mom's Mabley, oh my goodness. And when she came on TV, let me tell you something, that we just stopped everything to come and surround the television to watch Mom's Mabley. Jackie, Mom's Mabley. And she didn't have her teeth in, so you know that's why she was purse her lips, because she didn't have her false teeth in. But Mom's Mabley could get you laughing. All right, we move right along. Our next shero. The date, it's a Saturday. It's March the 20th, 1915. You see, Sister Rosetta Tharpe was born on this date in 1915. She was an African-American singer and one of the first gospel singers to tour Europe. Her career spanned 5 decades. Born Rosetta Nublin in Cotton Plant, Arkansas, her family moved to Chicago when she was 5. Her singing debut with her mother was before an audience of 1,000 people. The 1920s and 30s were years where Sister Rosetta sang the gospel songs of composers such as W.H. Brewster and blues-tinted gospel songs of Thomas A. Dorsey. Rosetta Tharpe was married 3 times. She was featured in the Life magazine, and her biggest hit was Rock Me. Oh my goodness, Rock Me. While recording for Decca Records, her style was unmistakably flamboyant. She sang at the Apollo Theater with Cab Calloway and performed consistently into the 1960s. Heart ailments took their toll the last 5 years of her life. Sister Rosetta Tharpe died in Philadelphia in 1973. All right, I want to connect the dots. Listen here. You want to talk to me? Call me 347-884-9839. Here's more history as we keep rolling right along with Women's History Month. Our next shero, the date, it's a Wednesday. It's March the 20th. It's 1918. You see, this date celebrates the birth of Charity Edna Adams Early in 1918, an African-American soldier and officer from Columbia, South Carolina. She was the oldest of 4 children of a minister and a teacher. Adams grew up in a family where reading was a natural as breathing. The house was always filled with books of all kinds. Her father was a scholar who was fluent in Greek and Hebrew. Adams graduated as valedictorian of Booker T. Washington High School, selected Wilberforce University in Ohio, and majored in math and physics. After graduation, Adams returned to Columbia and taught for 4 years while attending graduate school at Ohio State University. In 1942, she joined the Women's Army Auxiliary Corps, which later became the Women's Army Corps, better known as WACS. In 1944, the Army gave Adams an overseas assignment, the first contingent of black WACs for this degree of duty. With another officer, she traveled to Scotland to meet her troops, which became part of the Postal Directory Service. Maintaining morale was an important part of her job, and for African American women in Europe in 1945, beauty parlors were unavailable. With the help of other officers, Adams managed to requisition appropriate supplies for the women and a place for them to have their hair done. Later that year, she assumed command of the 688th Central Postal Directory Battalion. They were responsible for delivering mail to approximately 7 million American troops stationed in Europe. Wartime security required that letters sent home be read and censored, a task usually assigned to the company officers. The women began to socialize with the citizens of Birmingham, most of whom had had little or no previous contact with blacks. As the war began to wind down, old problems arose again. Many men were coming through the area, and they were not accustomed to dealing with female soldiers. Many of the men resented the presence of women in the military, and especially resented the presence of African American women. Adams had to look out for her troops and try to keep things on an even keel. With the end of the war, she decided it was time to leave the service, having been promoted to the rank of lieutenant colonel. Her first civilian jobs were in Ohio, where she worked for the Veterans Administration and Miller Music Academy, before moving to Nashville to take a position at Tennessee A&I, better known as Tennessee State. In 1949, she married Stanley A. Early Jr. and moved with him to Switzerland, but the family eventually settled in Dayton, Ohio. In addition to raising a son and a daughter, Early was devoted much of her life to the community service. She has served the United Way, the Black Leadership Development Program, the Board of Directors of Dayton Power and Light, the Dayton Metro Housing Authority, Dayton Opera Company, the Board of Governors of the American Red Cross, and the Board of Trustees of Sinclair Community College. She was a volunteer with the United Negro College Fund and the Urban League and the YWCA. I got to take a break here, and when we come back, we're going to finish the story of this amazing shero. So we'll be right back after these very important messages.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you a great opportunity. If you have an event, product, service, talent, or something important to say, now is your chance. You can have your very own radio show. Whether you're just starting out or a veteran looking for a professional platform to enhance your presentation and following, the GoPro Radio Network is the premier place to cultivate and share new and exciting content. We can help you grow your audience and keep it growing long after your first broadcast. Now you have a voice. Call 212-696-8562 or visit www.goproradio.com, and you'll be amazed at how easy and affordable it is to have your very own professional radio show on the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
All right, already. We're back on the BCS Experience. I'm ready for this. Are you ready for this? All right, we're celebrating African American women during Women's History Month on the GoPro Radio all month long on the BCS Experience. And we left off talking about this amazing woman, Charity Edna Adams Early, who was born in 1918. Well, in 1989, she published a book, One Woman's Army. Her book was reprinted in 1996. In 1991, Dayton Power and Light Company established a scholarship in her name at Wilberforce University to honor her for 12 years of service on the Board of Trustees. That same year, she was inducted into the South Carolina Black Hall of Fame. And in 1993, she was inducted into Ohio Veterans Hall of Fame. In 1995, Early introduced President Clinton at a salute to African Americans in World War II in Washington, D.C. American society has changed in so many ways since the days when Charity Elder Early and over 1 million other African Americans served their country proudly during the Second World War. 50 years after President Truman signed an executive order desegregating the military in 1848, Defense Secretary William Cohen led her onto the stage at Norfolk State University. There, he gave commissions to 31 graduates of the historically black college that has produced many African American military officers. Charity died in January 2002. Now, what an incredible story. This woman who served in the Army was one of the first WACs, as they called them, providing service to our soldiers, both as hospitality as well as USO opportunities, but you'd never heard that name before. That's what's really sad. Why we do this on the BCS Experience. We give you the history. We tell you the stories that are not told or written in your history books. And that's why we continue as a stop along the Underground Railroad Express, where you can learn about your heroes and your sheroes right during this month of Women's History Month. All right, we're going to continue to this next shero. The date, it's a Saturday. It's March the 18th, the year 1933. You see, Unita Blackwell was born on this date in 1933. She's an African-American politician and an activist from Lula, Mississippi. Her parents were both sharecroppers in Coahoma County. Because of limited educational opportunities for blacks in that state, Blackwell had to cross the state line to attend school in West Helena, Arkansas. She became a field worker for the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, better known as SNCC, in 1964, joining their efforts to register black voters in Mississippi. Also that year, she served as a delegate of the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, which went to the Democratic National Convention in Atlantic City, New Jersey. That was in 1964, and she went there with none other than Fannie Lou Hamer. You see, you know Fannie Lou Hamer, but you need to know Unita Blackwell as well. They were best of friends. During the late 1960s and the early 70s, Blackwell served as a community development specialist with the National Council of Negro Women. And since 1977, she has served as mayor of the Issaquah County community of Mayersville. Blackwell has risen as a prominent speaker on rural housing and development. In 1979, she participated in President Jimmy Carter's Energy Summit at Camp David. She later received a master's degree in regional planning from the University of Massachusetts Amherst. And in 1992, Blackwell received the prestigious MacArthur Foundation Fellowship. That fellowship goes to as MacArthur Foundation entitled Geniuses. We salute Unita Blackwell and her commitment to voting rights and rural opportunities for those in the Black Belt of Mississippi. Oh my goodness, what a story. You need to know this person. Very special leader in our community. All right, our next She Wrote. Now, you know this name, but did you know that on this date, it was a Wednesday, March the 18th, the year 1970, Queen Latifah was born on this date in 1970 in East Orange, New Jersey. The African-American rapper, singer, actress, and talk show host. Her birth name is Dana Owens. Did you know that? Queen Latifah, Dana Owens. Well, she came from a working class family and broke through into show business in the late 80s with a singing style that picked selectively from jazz and soul traditions. Now, the former Burger King employee, that's right, she was flipping burgers, was an early committed answer to the misogynist technique of her male rapper counterparts. Latifah was 18 years old when she released her debut single, Wrath of My Madness, in 1988. A year later, her debut album enjoyed hot reviews. Production know-how from Daddy-O, KRS-One, DJ Mark, the 45 King, and members of De La Soul helped her as well. Latifah's third album on Motown Records exposed a shift from the soul and raga of a sister to lively hip-hop. Latifah then turned to a career as an actress, markedly in the hit black comedy Living Single. Her early movie credits include Juice, Jungle Fever, and House Party 2. In 1993, she set up her own Flavor Unit record label and management company. The first release on it, Roll with the Flavor, featured an all-star cast including Naughty by Nature's Treach, Foo Snickers, Chip Foo, Black Sheep's Dre, and D-Nice, all hip-hoppers, as you well know. She also worked on the Shabba Ranks single, What You Gonna Do. Anyway, Latifah represents an intelligent cross-section of hip-hop influences. Though she is a forthright advocate of her racist struggle, she is also the daughter of and sister to a policeman. She adapted the name of Queen Latifah, meaning delicate and sensitive in Arabic, early in her career. Now, losing her brother in a motorcycle accident in 1955, she still wears the motorbike's key around her neck, in addition to grieving a friend who was shot when the two were carjacked that same year. Latifah has persisted in overcoming tragedy to remain positive and creative. She remains as a positive role model for young black women and men in hip-hop culture. Aspire to be a doctor or a lawyer, but not a gangster. As one of the singles lifted from Black Rain advocated, Unity, U-N-I-T-Y, who you calling a bitch? All right. And after more and more prominent acting roles in Set It Off, 1996, Living Out Loud in 1998, and The Bone Collector in 1999, she was given her own personal televised outlet in the form of The Queen Latifah Show in 1999. Latifah was also appeared as both the Wicked Witch of the West, 1998's The Wizard of Oz, and Glinda, the Good Witch, The Oz in 2002. Following a lengthy hiatus owing to acting commitments, Latifah returned to recording with 1998's Order in the Court. In 2003, she was nominated for an Oscar for her role as Mama Morton in Chicago. And in 2003, she acted in the Odd Couple comedy Bringing Down the House and Barbershop 2, Back in Business. In 2007, she announced her engagement to longtime girlfriend Jeanette Jenkins. And in 2013, she began hosting her own TV show. Queen Latifah, oh my goodness, she brought big girls to the forefront to be respected, to be honored, to be praised in beauty, style, and yes, spoken word as well. We salute Queen Latifah. All right, this next one, this is my favorite kind of part of the show. It's called the BCS Experience Blog News snaps. Well, this week we are saluting on this date in 1956. It would say October the 17th. May Carol Jemison was born on this date in 1956. She is an African American and first astronaut and physician. That's right. She was born in Decatur, Alabama, but raised in Chicago. The youngest of three children, her parents, Dorothy and Charlie Jemison, encouraged, stimulated, and supported the many interests of their children. Young May Carol Jemison loved to read and to dance. She enjoyed science fiction, pure science, and learning about the formation of the universe. She graduated from Morgan Park High School in 1973 and entered Stanford University as a scholarship student, all at the age of 16. Well, after graduating with a Bachelor of Science degree in Chemical Engineering and an AB in African and Afro-American Studies, she earned her doctorate in medicine at Cornell University's Medical College. And before joining NASA, National Aeronautics Space Administration, in 1987, Dr. Jemison worked on both engineering and medicine. As the science mission specialist on the STS-47 Space Lab J flight, a U.S. joint Japan mission, she conducted experiments in life sciences, material sciences, and co-investigated the bone cell research experiment. In 1992, Space Lab J flight was a successful joint U.S. and Japanese science mission, making Mae Jemison the first black woman in space. I got a caller on. Who's calling? Welcome to the BCS Experience. Who's there?
Hi, this is Linda.
Linda, it's been a while. Welcome back. This is Linda is in Washington, D.C. She's the president of my fan club. Linda, I've been missing you a lot. You're doing fine?
Oh, thank you.
You're all set?
I'm fine.
Well, good. Now, you're all set for the holidays, for Easter?
Yes, I am.
Or as better known as Resurrection Sunday. Well, this is good. And are you enjoying the Salute to Women's History Month?
Absolutely.
And these are some amazing stories, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Well, good. Did you know some of these women?
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. Now, you know about Queen Latifah, of course.
Of course.
And how about our astronaut Carol Jemison? May Carol Jemison, you know, our first black astronaut. But did you know that story about our first story, which was about Rebecca J. Cole back in 1846? She was one of the first black women physicians in America. Did you know that name?
Yes.
Wow, amazing story, isn't it? Well, let me finish up on Mae Jemison, because there's just a little bit extra that people may not have known, but our first African-American female astronaut, after serving 6 years as a NASA Aeronautics and Space Administration astronaut, Dr. Jemison left NASA and in 1993 to start the Jemison Group, Inc., which focused on the beneficial integration of science and technology into daily life. Well, in 1994, Dr. Jemison founded the The Earth We Share, an annual international science camp where students ages 12 to 16 work together to solve current global dilemmas. The 4-week residential program builds critical thinking and problem-solving skills through an experiential curriculum. She also directs the Jemison Institute of Advancing Technology in Developing Countries. She has received many awards and honors, including induction into the National Women's Hall of Fame. Dr. Jemison also holds a number of honorary doctorates. She serves on several corporate boards of directors as well as on the Texas Governor's State Council for Science, Biotechnology Development. Her first book was Find Where the Wind Goes, Moments from My Life, in 2001. Dr. Jemison loves cats and lives in Houston. Dr. Jemison speaks nationally and globally on vital 21st century issues, including science, literacy, sustainable development, education, achieving excellence, the importance of increased involvement of women and minorities in science and technology fields, and investing in the present to secure the future. And Girl Scout. Wow, what an amazing she wrote. I have this little piece that I want to play about Mae Jemison as the first African American woman in space. Roll that tape as we take a look at this she wrote of the 21st century. Wow, what a story. What a woman. Okay, our first African American astronaut in space, Dr. Mae Jemison. We salute you during Women's History Month. What an amazing journey. She's still out there doing her thing, Linda. You still with me? Okay. Well, we are coming to the end of our show today. It's been an interesting travel here during this full month day on March 23rd, but I want to share some good news with you as we close out. I started a new job this week. I am now the acting assistant director at the Louis Armstrong House Museum in Corona, Queens, New York City. All things Louis Armstrong. I sat on their board of advisors for 8 years back in the 90s, but I was invited to come back to be the assistant director, and oh, you can go back home. So when you come to New York City and you want to see something amazing, come on out to Corona, Queens to the Louis Armstrong House Museum. An amazing man, our country's first ambassador, cultural ambassador to the world, Louis Armstrong. So I'll give you the VIP tour. It's located in Corona, Queens, and you'll be amazed at his life story and the journey he had as America's first musical and cultural ambassador to the world. All right. You've been listening to the BCS Experience on the GoProRadio.com, your social network's live talk show, produced and sponsored by Iron Metropolis Images. Tylon Xavier Washington, my producer. Mel Alsop, my online engineer. My amazing interns, Khadijah, Charlene, and Alex. Thank you so much, ladies, for making my show #1 and the best. A special thank you to the Jazz Lounge Project and Andrew Julian Myers for my fabulous show's theme music, composed and input by the amazing, talented Mike Sargent. Tune in next Wednesday when my show, the BCS Experience, History, Arts, Culture, Politics, in Review and Discussion, will be on from 5 to 6 p.m. Stay tuned for more from the GoPro Radio Network, and if you haven't heard our other shows, you need to listen to The Roll Up. It's hot. Lots of episodes on that. We also have Spotlight with Earl Morgan, talking about things going on in Newark and across Jersey City. Yes, always keeping abreast of the news in Jersey City. And then, of course, Cult of Dusty. Now, you haven't heard anything until you've heard Cult of Dusty. Not to mention Face the Facts. Oh, my goodness. And then, of course, there's Prince Solomon Carter, Amped. And last but not least, Soulful House Collage. Hey, folks, it's been all about the BCS Experience, and I'm Byron C. Saunders. You know, join me next Wednesday when my very special guest will be you, my listening audience, with another opportunity to appreciate our rich cultural Resurrection Sunday. I'm out of here.